Okay. God, my voice is always a shitload of phlegm when I start these things. Anyway, if this is not your first rodeo, you know how this goes. But in case you're here for the first time, hi, welcome to the channel. I've resuscitated this after a few years. So I'm actually not sure who the demographic for this video is, but I'm not taking YouTube that seriously. So I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want on this channel. And right now what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to play a few rounds of the Eisendrache while trying not to die as I finish talking about every single freaking book I read in 2021. So that's what I meant about who is this for, what demographics am I going for. I don't know, don't ask me. But yeah, so I've really enjoyed making these live stream style videos because it's really hard to focus on zombies while talking extemporaneously about stuff I love, but it's a good challenge. Excuse me here. My nose is really itchy. I'm just gonna clean that up. Alright, so with that said, we're going to now start the Eisendrache. And as you can see here, for those who are familiar with Black Ops 3 zombies, I actually don't have any Mega Gobblegum on me. I just have these guys. And I have no idea if I'm going to last one game or several, because there are a lot of books that I want to talk about this year. So, excuse me just for a second. My nose is really itchy. Okay, just make sure it's okay. So, with that said, we're going to try to get through this. My tier ranking system is a bit different from my first video. I only have S tier, then A, B, C, D, and then straight to F. So, some of these books I actually have not much to say. Some of these, hopefully I get to rant before I get assaulted by the undead. So, with that said, I guess we're just going to start this thing. So, if I die, I'm just going to start another game. No pressure, it's just a chill stream. We're going to try not to die. Okay. So, let's wait for things to start before we get started. What did I just say? Battery's pretty good on the controller. This might legit take more than an R or 2 Rs, because there's a lot of books I read this year. And these aren't all fiction. Some of these are non-fiction. So, just a heads up. My nose is really itchy. It wasn't like this earlier. Give me a second. I wish that didn't happen. Oops. I wish that didn't happen, what do they call this? On stream. But, hey, it is what it is. Skip that. Okay, let's start with our F tier. There's only 2 books here. One is a D and F. But this book is so freaking long that I think I have the right to talk about it, even though I didn't finish it. And that's 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami. So I have never read a single book by this guy, Haruki Murakami. And I had to quit reading 1Q84 for a very weird reason. And that reason is that Haruki Murakami is the single horniest writer I've ever read. This is coming from a guy whose favorite author used to be Chuck Palahniuk, and currently my favorite author is Stephen King. The horniness of Haruki Murakami is unparalleled among all the other Western authors I've read. Why are they dying? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Haruki Murakami's horniness is unparalleled compared to other authors I've read. Every other sentence, he's literally talking about someone looking at their boobs, looking at someone else's boobs, looking at their penis, looking at someone else's penis, looking at someone's penis in an alternate universe. Literally, I stopped reading this book for, I think, 3 months. Because I hated it so much. And I thought, you know what, maybe I just need a break. Maybe I'm just burnt out from reading so much that I would stop. And literally, when I pick it up, the first scene I see, or read rather, is a grown-up adult man having sex with a 17-year-old. That was when I tapped out. I said, I don't care about these characters. I'm just gonna stop because I hate every second I spend reading this book. Every second I spend reading this book, I hate the book and myself a little bit more. And that was a sign for readers out there who are ever scared of DNFing. If every time you read a single sentence from the book you're reading, you actually learn that you kind of hate yourself, I think you should stop. I think that goes without saying. Oh, Jesus. So, yeah, 1Q84, worst book I've read of all time, actually. I'm not kidding. That's not hyperbole. I really dislike this book. Okay, it's round 3. We have enough points. I think to get a quick revive, and then we're going to start filling up the woof over on the other side. We'll get gobbled up there. So we try not to die here. Operative word being try. Next book is The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. I was in a little bit of a self-help kick. Oh my god! Did that just happen? I didn't have enough points.
I have learned valuable lessons.
Fuck. If I die before getting Juggernog, I don't deserve quick revive. Okay. Okay. The Power of Your Subconscious Mind is a self-help book. Why can't I say that properly? And mainly the thesis statement of this book is that if you're going to just believe in a certain outcome, it will happen. And if you believe otherwise, it won't. And that's a good thing, I think, to keep in mind sometimes. But the examples in this book are just fucking insane. They're so fucking stupid sometimes. Like one time they said that their friend had cancer, and that one day they just believed that their friend would get better from the cancer. And then it said like something stupid like 3 years later my friend recovered from cancer. No, like, I'm happy for your friend, but that story kind of has no logical tissue to it, buddy. I like, you could almost believe I've never had cancer. I'm very, cancer's a very serious and sad thing, but I've never had it, and I think it would have been better like if it was a first person kind of what do you call this? What's the word? Anecdote. If it was a first person anecdote, like they believed they would get better, but no, it's a friend. I don't know the details. They didn't give enough details in that anecdote. But that's the entire book. It's like, I didn't think it would happen. Then I thought it would happen. And then it happened. It was like that. It was so stupid for most of the book. I was just like, come on. Stop fucking around with me here. And the book was really just that. Then you find out that the author's a preacher, and you replace every time they mention subconscious mind in the book with the word God, and it just sounds like a Catholic preacher. Now, nothing against Catholic preachers, alright? But it does sound like that. I've been to Mass enough to know what a Catholic preacher sounds like, I believe. And literally, you take a homily from, like, your Sunday celebration, and you replace God with subconscious mind. That's what this book reads like. And if you're agnostic like me, that's just kind of cringe sometimes. Okay. I mean, yeah, you have to believe in a positive outcome every now and then for things to happen, but this book takes it to an extreme that's almost humorous. It's kind of sad. Alright. That's F tier. Only 2 books there, thank God. D tier. Let's go to D tier. Emma by Jane Austen. My friend wanted me to watch the Anya Taylor-Joy film with Emma, and I'm the kind of guy that must read the book before watching the film adaptation. So I read the book. Jane Austen's writing style is very archaic. This comes from a guy who read the entirety of Anna Karenina and War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. This is coming from a guy who read Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. This is coming from a guy who's read the unabridged Signet Classics edition of Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. This is coming from a guy who read The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Emma by Jane Austen. their writing style is really, really obviously old, and I just did not jive with their writing style. I am unable to articulate any valid criticism of this book. It did not work for me. I did not like the writing style of the book. Is the book bad? I wouldn't say that. It's just, it was very tough to read. For me, at least. Because I'm a dumbass. I do not like my gobble gum. We buy a new one. Nope, can't do that. Just round 3. Hadouken. So once we get the Stormbow, this should be a bit easygoing now. Assuming we get that far. I need this.
I feel it is
KN44.
And sorrow.
Next book is The Visual Display of Quantitative Information by Edward R. Tufte. I work in computer science and I want to study some data science stuff. So this was really... I don't have much to say about this book other than it's kind of dry. And I've read a lot of textbooks for fun. This one was really dry. I'm sorry. Next, we have 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. He's one of the shareholders for Facebook. You may have heard him mentioned in David Fincher's The Social Network. This is another sort of... It's not a self-help book, but it's more of a startup guide book kind of thing, like advice on startups and shit. And it just did not resonate with me. I read this book because I read a book that's going to show up later in this list, which is The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. And that book was really insightful to read. This one was not. I mean, it was to a certain extent, and then it just stopped being that. It's kind of hard to describe, but I'm going to try. The sayings here are a bit more specific to people already in the business, which I am not, while The Lean Startup is kind of more directed at people who have no idea what they're doing. I think that's the best way I can describe how I felt about this book. I'm not currently the head of a startup, or I don't work in a startup. I think I would have appreciated this book more if I was in that kind of context. But seeing as I'm not, I can't pretend to be. That's why I didn't find this book very insightful. So, definitely a me problem, but that may help you if you want to read this book or not. If you're currently in the process of building or running a startup, this book might be a bit more helpful to you. As someone who's just kind of interested casually in the practice, I couldn't relate to most of this book. So, definitely a me problem. Next, The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon by Stephen King. This is Stephen King pulling Castaway or Buried. You know those movies? Castaway is Tom Hanks alone on an island with a Wilson volleyball. Buried is Ryan Reynolds buried underground and all he has is a cell phone. Okay. Hadouken? So, this is Stephen King's attempt at doing that, and on paper, that was a hell of a pitch for me. Stephen King does that style of thing, because the main plot of this story, not to spoil too much, is that this little girl gets stuck in the woods, all by her lonesome, and there's no adults there for her, and she's just trying to survive. But she starts hallucinating Tom Gordon, and that's the main, unique draw of the story. I really did not care for it, so... Because I'm not American, I don't know who Tom Gordon is, and it could have been fine. There's a lot of stories I've read with pop culture references I didn't get, and I still kind of cared. This one was not one of them, so it's okay. It's not terrible, but it's very mid for Stephen King. I've definitely seen better from my favorite author. Oh my god! Get away from me, 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 get away from me. I am one. Okay. Let me just focus here a little bit. Thank you. Alright. Good news, I'm still alive. Good news as well, that's the end of the D tier. So we're moving on to the more okay or good level books here. So on C tier, the lowest one I have here is actually Bram Stoker, Dracula. I really like this book. Parts of it I really, really liked. The other parts of it I was quite indifferent to. And for those parts of it I was indifferent to, I kind of put it on the C tier. What did I like about the book? Everything that had Jonathan Harker with Dracula. I also loved that it's an epistolary novel. Epistolary novels are basically novels where it's sort of like the written version of a found footage horror film. Epistolary novels, essentially you're reading like letters and shit that were found from a certain event. So these letters are mainly journals from Mina Harker, Jonathan Harker, the characters of the book, and their experiences while they were in Transylvania during the reign of Count Dracula. So you also have some journal entries, I believe, from Van Helsing. It's really interesting how it's presented, and I really enjoy the character of Jonathan Harker and his chapters. Sadly, that's how the book started. Well, not sadly, happily. I mean, that's good. The book started with a bang. I really enjoyed the first part of the book when we were sort of experiencing the entire thing from Jonathan Harker's point of view as he first went into Dracula's castle and started unveiling like what's going on there, all the weird shit that happens in Count Dracula's castle. But as it veered more into the more Van Helsing's investigations of the biological circumstances of the people infected by the vampire or the vampirism, that part was kind of dry. It felt like someone's thesis paper on literally a thing that does not exist. Or does it? So, yeah, there were parts of Dracula that were really interesting. My favorite scene was, I forgot the character's name, but there's a side character. In the Francis Ford Coppola movie, this character was played by Cary Elwes, where Van Helsing is essentially guiding this character to staking his fiancée through the heart because she was bitten by a vampire. So there's a similar scene in Stephen King's Salem's Lot that got to me. So I'm really a sucker for someone being forced to kill their loved one because they've turned. So that's why I like zombie fiction and vampire fiction a lot. Although, to quote Murphy Napier from YouTube, vampire fiction is a little bit too rapey for my taste. Zombie fiction is a bit more safe, mentally speaking. So yeah, I really did like this book, but it's just not the best book I've read this year. I'm grading all these books kind of on a curve, so just take that as you may. Next book. Wow, another supernatural thing. Cycle of the Werewolf by Stephen King. This was a good book. There's really good illustrations in this book. Unfortunately, it's very short. Is length part of what they call this? The quality of a book? Not really. I mean, The Little Prince is one of my 5-star books. It's one of the best books I've ever read. And The Little Prince can literally be read in less than an hour. So, no, it's not that. What I had a problem with is that I didn't feel like the story here was fleshed out because each chapter follows a month where the werewolf attacks some person in the town. And I just know Stephen King can do that really well with Salem's Lot. Here, it felt like missed potential. Because I know King can do this well if he dedicated this to a real novel, but this was really just a short book. I'm not sure what this book was written or what the circumstances were surrounding this book, but it did not work for me as well as I wanted it to. I really tried to like it, but next book is a textbook, so I'm not going to go too deep into it because I don't know who the audience of this is for, but definitely this is one book I won't delve too much. But I tried rereading Think Bayes by A.B. Downey. It's a sort of Bayesian statistics textbook, and I really don't jive with this book. I couldn't relate to the examples, essentially. So, moving on. I'm training zombies while checking my list. The next one is another Stephen King novel. Cell. This is Stephen King trying to do zombies, and it does not work. There are parts of it that are good. The idea is that there's this pulse that gets released from everyone's cell phones, and anyone who was on their phone at the time of the pulse essentially becomes a zombie. Like, the primal urges of their brain would take over. It's somewhat like that scene in Kingsman: The Secret Service, if you've seen that film, where Sam Jackson activates that pulse, and suddenly everyone who hears it goes sort of rabid. It's the same idea, generally speaking. However, the execution here is kind of weird. Excuse me. Because in this book, there's this character, I forgot what they called him, the Tattered Man or something like that, where he controls the zombies. And I really, really did not care for that. I really didn't care that there was one head zombie that controlled all zombies. I'm not sure why. It just didn't feel like it added anything to the story in the end. If I were to articulate my feelings on it, it didn't feel like it added anything compelling to the story. It didn't make any interesting scenarios. It didn't complicate things to a certain level that it would have been better if they just had that element removed. If you remove that element, I don't think the story is any different. That's my main problem with it. Okay, we have a shield, because we're going to try to fill up the next dragon. But I want to get quick revive, because I'm scrubbed, and we have to finish this whole list. So, next book that we're going to talk about is going to be Secret Window, Secret Garden, also by Stephen King. So, Secret Window, Secret Garden is a pretty good book, I have to say. The main concept is that there's this writer who gets accused of plagiarism by another writer, and suddenly weird shit starts happening, and this man starts questioning his sanity. I won't say more than that because I don't think Cy King would want me spoiling more than that for those who haven't read his book. But there's just a big lull in the middle of this book that I really did not care for that much. That's my main criticism of the book. It's really just that. There's parts of this book I would cut out, and I think it would be a tighter book. Even if you cut those out, though, the story that's here is not amazing. It's good, but it's not amazing. So that's why it ends up rather low on the list. Next up is Gerald's Game, also by Stephen King. This is still in the C tier, but it's a significant jump from Secret Window, because this is essentially another attempt of Stephen King doing the Castaway kind of trope of story, where it's just one person in one location trying to survive or get out of that location / situation. But Gerald's Game basically takes it up a notch by giving the protagonist vivid hallucinations at some point, and she starts thinking about her past. So that's interesting for me. What else? The resolution of this book is one of the most cringe-inducing, in a good way, cringe-inducing moments. You're just kind of gritting your teeth as you feel every single thing the main character is going through during the climax. I won't give it away if you don't know what it is. If you've seen the Netflix film, you probably either remember it or don't remember it because you erased it from your memory, how traumatic that scene is. But I also watched the film of Gerald's Game. Is it as good as the book? I think it's a better film than the book would be if you just directly adapted it. I think it cut out just the right amount of content for it to fit into a 2-hour film. So I think it's a really good adaptation, but it's not better than the book. Okay. I don't think you could adapt the book directly page per page and have it be a tightly paced film. I think for the medium of film, what they did was pretty much perfect, to be honest. While I get the next one, let's see what we have here. Dolores Claiborne by Stephen King.
Sometimes the simplest weapon is most effective.
So, I'm gonna try to upgrade this bow while talking about Dolores Claiborne. And hopefully I don't fuck up too badly. So, Dolores Claiborne is very similar to... just a moment. It's very similar to Gerald's Game. It deals with a theme of sort of domestic abuse, but it handles it in different ways slightly. It really is, like, there's no chapters in it. It's literally just the testimony of Dolores Claiborne from beginning to end. No chapter breaks. There's paragraph breaks, duh, but there's no chapter breaks. It's just a stream of consciousness almost delved into Dolores Claiborne's psyche. Dolores Claiborne is one of the best Stephen King characters, hands down. It's just really fascinating to be in her head for a while. What else can I say about Dolores Claiborne? It's a sister novel to Gerald's Game. That's another interesting fact about it. It's not a very tight connection, but it is significant. So I won't give away too much. But yeah, we're going to leave it at that. Okay, let's see if I remember how to do this. So we do that. Alright. Just give me a moment to focus on this. The next book, by the way, I guess I can talk about it. I'm not going to go into it too much. But I read the expansion pack for D&D 5th edition this year. It's Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Okay. And then one more over here. Okay. We're good? Okay, we're good. Alright. Sorry about that. I had to focus for that one step. Alright. I won't talk about Tasha's too much. I think everything in that book is too fucking overpowered as a dungeon master. As a player, that gotta be fun if your DM allows that. But as a dungeon master, kinda dicey. If only use that book if you believe that your game won't be broken by it. So DMs, just be on the lookout. We're going to the B tier next. So early this year, I had a minor personal tragedy, and I won't go too much into it, but essentially I needed some peace of mind. And what I did to alleviate that was essentially, what do you call this? Get into Stoicism. And the prime literature for Stoicism, if you are in the know, is Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. So I read that and I really liked it. I did not love it the first time I read it. My friend kind of forced me to read it, and I was not in the right mindset. But at this point, I think I was in the right mindset to appreciate what Marcus Aurelius had to say in that novel. So, not novel. It's like a I'm not sure what to call it. It's like a memoir, I guess, of Marcus Aurelius. But it's really good. If you want to try for a stoic lifestyle, something that won't stress you out too much, I do recommend that you try reading Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. Try reading one of the translations that makes it plain English, because the original directly transliterated almost version is really opaque. It's kind of hard to read. But the one that I read, I forgot the edition, but try to look for one where it's really easy to read, because it's much. There's lots of YouTube videos about it. Just look for the translation that's really easy to read for you. I read the NLP textbook by Jurafsky and Martin, and I really liked it, but I'm not going to talk about it here because honestly, that's where I draw the line at demographics. But yeah, if you want to learn natural language processing, go for it. Read it. I've never run their Eisendrache like without gobblegum. So I'm just gonna use this gobblegum so I can nail this shot. Hopefully that doesn't. Oh fuck. You know what? I'm gonna charge all the fucking electric shit first, so I don't have to worry about it too much. Next book. Scrum Mastery. Oh, for software developers, I really recommend this book. Scrum Mastery is basically about Scrum mindset and improving being a Scrum Master. So, again, I draw the line here at sort of the demographics of this video, so I won't go too deep into this. But if you are interested in this topic whatsoever, this is a good starting book for it. I hope that wasn't the last one. Let's see if I can pull this off. Okay, we go here. Good, good, good. Okay, first try. Hello, hello, hello.
Is it safe to have wood so close to explosives?
Come on, buddy. If there's only one, I could probably handle it. If there's more than one, fuck me. Hang on, let me pull off this shot, then we'll continue talking. Did I pull it off? Am I winning? You know what? Let's go big ball.
I never thought of myself as archer, but arrows always find their target.
Let's go big ball. Let's try doing this between rounds. Please, please. Oh my god, really? Fuck, 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 fuck. This is bad. Oh god. Oh god. Come on. Come on. Are you shitting me? Oh my god. Okay, okay. Change of plan. Let's go to the other one first. I'm running out of arrows. I'm gonna need a max ammo soon. I hope for a dog round. And I know that the Panzer comes in at round 12. But let's talk about the next book while we're running to the next part. Alright. Sundog by Stephen King. I like this more than Secret Garden because it's more horror. And I'm horror. So I like horror a lot. Is this a good book? Yes. Is it for everyone? I don't think so. It has a really weird concept. Basically, it's not spoiling too much, but the concept of this book is mainly there's this Polaroid that keeps taking photos of this dog. And the photos behave in such a weird way. I won't spoil the behavior. It's a real weird pitch. I can't sell this book without spoiling too much. But the photos paint a very disturbing picture. Let me just leave it at that. And if you want to know what the photos of the dog show, you just have to read it, I guess. Alright, there's a way for me to recover this. I can spin the Gobblegum machine and get Alchem. But yeah, I have nothing much to say about Sundog. It's kind of a spoilerific Stephen King story. Like, it's more of the vibe of a short story from Stephen King than, like... Can I successfully... No. Let's do this smart. Let's leave one zombie. Are you fucking kidding me? Do we have a crawler? Did they make a crawler? No, I killed him. Oh well. Alright, I'm really sorry. Sundog feels more like a Stephen King short story than it does a Stephen King novella. Due to the sort of concept heaviness of the story. Okay, we pulled that off, first try. Let's talk about the next book. After the tragedy, whenever something bad happens to me, I usually go to Perks of Being a Wallflower for support, like emotional support. And did it work this time? Kind of. It's not the best thing, but it's better than nothing. This book's always a warm hug. If you know the last line of this book, or if you have a copy near you, just go to that copy and look at the last line of the book. Whenever I read that last line, if I'm feeling like 100 in terms of how bad I feel, I just feel a little bit better. Like it becomes, at the very most, a 99 on how bad I feel. If that zombie fucks around with me, I'm gonna fucking lose a... Is it too... It's too far. It's too far. I have to aim a bit lower in the plume. Oh my god, I'm gonna run out of fucking ammo for this thing. I need to aim a bit lower down the plume. Come on. Really? Really? Oh my god. Please? I'm really bad at this. Last B tier book is Roadwork by Stephen King. The sales pitch for this is pretty simple. It's what if Stephen King... Oh, thank the Lord! What if Stephen King wrote... Breaking Bad. Basically, this guy, their family has owned this store, or this... I forgot. basically this lot of land near this projected highway for a very, very, very long time. And suddenly people now want to take over that stretch of highway. That's why it's called Roadwork. And this guy just breaks bad trying to keep it because, damn it, their families lived here for a long, long time. You're not taking this away from us. And it's that kind of book. I really did like it because what Stephen King does better than any other author is character. And this guy, this character, Barton Dawes, is one of the most underrated Stephen King characters. No one talks about this guy, but he just goes insane in this book. Not to spoil too much, but that's the main concept of this. It's him breaking bad, and holy shit. I really like this book. It's a really underrated Stephen King novel. But that is the B tier. We're already on the last 2 tiers, and I haven't upgraded Lightning Bow yet. Who's the failure here? So I'm just gonna kill the zombie with my rifle. Hadouken. And then we're gonna use this for the upgrade part. Alright, next, A tier. How to Read a Book, The Classic Guide to Intelligent Reading by Mortimer Adler. Guys, if you want to study like textbooks and like philosophical texts, basically nonfiction, this book is a really good book to read. So again, it's How to Read a Book by Mortimer Adler. I highly recommend this for anyone who wants to get into reading nonfiction, or just you want to study better for your exams or your college classes. You want to study better, you want to read technical papers, research papers better. This is just... When I read this book, I realized I've been doing it right since high school. I'm not just sucking my own dick here. I just... That validates that I've been doing well in school because this is how I naturally think. And if you guys could read this book and start adapting this kind of mindset when reading, I think it would be a good thing for everyone who kind of takes this video and gets this kind of insight from it. So yeah, How to Read a Book by Mortimer Adler. Okay. Oops. Did I fuck up? Can I upgrade now? Yes, I can. Alright. So all we have left to do is pack a punch, maybe get the Ragnarok DGs. Cremum la amam. Whatever that means. Next book. The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. So this is really just me trying to understand. Again, tragic thing happened earlier this year. This is just me trying to understand within myself what the fuck happened. And Laws of Human Nature is a pretty good book for that. I think I'm going to train on the rooftop. That's a smart move. Also, the Panzer is going to be spawning in soon, so I think that's a good place to train. But yeah, Laws of Human Nature, I really like the format of this book. Each chapter is about one law, and each chapter illustrates that law with a story, because stories are a really good way of helping people sort of understand a concept. So yeah, The Laws of Human Nature, really good book. Next, Fellowship of the Ring. You know what? I'm just going to talk about the Lord of the Rings trilogy on here, just as one unit, so we don't have to just keep coming back to them. That's a ×2. I will be taking that. Thank you very much. So, Lord of the Rings. I've always loved Lord of the Rings, but this time, for some reason, I didn't. I don't know what changed about me. It probably wasn't just the tragedy earlier the year, but I didn't love Lord of the Rings this time around. Did Lord of the Rings get worse for me? Not exactly. It's just I'm a different person, and I got a bit more used to the Stephen King, Brandon Sanderson fantasy in the past years. Hello, Panzer. Hello, Panzer. Hello, Panzer. Let me just kill this Panzer. Okay. Sorry about that. So, why didn't I enjoy it that much? I think I'm going to try to articulate it, but the writing style this time, I found it more dry than I've ever found it. Like, there was a time back then where whenever people said, you know, I like Lord of the Rings, but Tolkien's writing style is really dry. I've never really gotten that until this read. Because I always thought his writing style was just really fun. But this time, I'm like, yeah, it's really dry. And before, when people ask, like, would you rather have the movies or the books? I usually say the books, because I actually prefer the Fellowship film to the book. But this time, I prefer the films to the books, all of them. Like, am I gonna lose some nerd points for admitting that? I don't care. This was a weird experience for me.
I think we have built a better mousetrap.
So yeah, that is Lord of the Rings. Next one is Danse Macabre by Stephen King. This is basically Stephen King sort of doing a treatise on the history of horror fiction. And I really like this one. What's it really about? He's just telling like the progression of horror, different mediums. It's a really cool book. He kind of tells like a synopsis of his favorite horror novels. Okay, we're gonna send some cover here. Put that in again. Grab that. And then we just wait for things to happen. Okay. What was I talking about? Danse Macabre. If you like horror at all, especially in multiple mediums, like you like horror movies, you like horror novels, you also like horror TV, something like Twilight Zone but a bit scarier, Tales from the Crypt, or if you were a 90s kid like me, you liked Are You Afraid of the Dark? If you like horror in different mediums, I think you would like Danse Macabre. Coming from someone like Stephen King, who absolutely lives and breathes the genre, I think you can't find a better book to talk about horror than this one. It's a really good book, guys. Next one is Don't Make Me Think by Steve Krug. Again, not in my demographic. I mean, for you guys, I won't talk about this too much. But if you want to learn about like simple concepts in user interface design and testing, this is the book for you. It's Don't Make Me Think by Steve Krug. This is a revisited version. Next is Christine by Stephen King. I had low expectations going into this. I'm like, killer car book by Stephen King. Really? We're doing this? And it turned out to be a very good character piece. I don't know why I keep doubting Stephen King with his character pieces. Maybe it's because there's books in his bibliography, excuse me, that are like The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. But that's an exception, that's not the rule. Usually, if Stephen King has a stupid concept like, oh no, there's a killer clown in the sewers, oh no, there's a killer car, oh no, there's a town of vampires, okay, that's not so stupid. He still gives every story the dignity it deserves by developing the characters. And Christine is no different. Christine is just as good as his other projects, at least in terms of characters, and that's really the main selling point of this. You don't really. I came for the killer car. I stayed for the characters. So yeah. Aura by Carlos Fuentes is the next one. My friend recommended this to me because I was in the mood for gothic fiction. If you notice, there's only been one gothic fiction novel I've mentioned so far, which is, I believe, Bram Stoker's Dracula. I actually got into a gothic fiction kick this year, and you'll see some of those works in a bit. For those watching the game, I'm waiting for the rocket to launch, because I need one more part for the Ragnarok DGs. Anyway, so Aura by Carlos Fuentes is a very short read. You can read it in less than an hour. But the main idea is this guy moves in with the landlady who's a bit old, and her young sort of, I believe it's her niece. The relationship's not that clear when you start the book, so I won't go into it too much. But yeah, weird shit starts happening after a while. And this is such a short read. I'm serious. You could read this in less than an hour. You could probably read this in 3 minutes. It's that short. Is it? 12 minutes. Sorry, 12 minutes. You could probably read this in 12 minutes. It's that short. It's almost a short story. But it was really good. Again, the name of the book is Aura by Carlos Fuentes. It's, I believe, Mexican originally. So yeah, check it out. I swear I'm not cheating. I'm really trying to build a Ragnarok Nijis, and if you've played this map, you know that you're supposed to, like, run around here till the rocket launches. And then we're gonna activate this switch over here on this yonder wall, and then we're gonna run real quick back into the station. So yeah, all I'm doing here, I'm doing the correct thing here. All right. Next up, we have Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I'm not a guy who'd say classics are my favorite thing ever. With that said, Wuthering Heights is one of my favorite classics. This is a pretty short book, but it's really... Okay, here we go, here we go. Give me a moment, give me a moment. Oh my god, oh my god!
We really should move.
Did that just happen?
I owe you life debt. Mind if I pay later?
Am I gonna die here? Am I gonna die here? Well, I don't have any perks, so I think I might die here. We'll get quick revive at least. Let me recover, then we'll start talking about Wuthering Heights. Let me pitch Wuthering Heights to you the normal way I do it. So, Wuthering Heights, I would describe it like... Imagine in Romeo and Juliet, if you're... That was my last quick revive. Jesus. So imagine in Romeo and Juliet, if Juliet was actually forced to marry Paris. And Juliet and Paris had a kid, and Romeo just went full emo Peter Parker on that shit. So Juliet and Paris had a kid, and Romeo just went full Edmond Dantes. So is it basically American or English Count of Monte Cristo? No, it's very different in terms of themes. Count of Monte Cristo is really more on revenge and I believe public image. It's been a while, okay? Don't criticize my literary know-how. What do you call this? Wuthering Heights is really more about the cycle of abuse and how it passes down through generations. Which one do I like more? I'd still have to say Count of Monte Cristo, but Wuthering Heights, it's very close. It's like a hair's... What's the idiom? It's really close. Let's just leave it at that. Let's not overthink it.
I think that his last will see him then.
We're gonna try that again. It's actually a bit dangerous here, because we don't have Juggernaut. We're gonna try that again. We still have a Goblin. Anything else I can say about Wuthering Heights? Oh shit. Just give me a moment. Can I do this? I regret going for the Ragnaroks. I regret going for the Ragnaroks. Fuck the Ragnaroks. Let's get Jug. Let's get... Fuck the Ragnaroks. TLDR, fuck the Ragnaroks. We're gonna get Jug. And we'll figure things out from there. Jesus Christ. What the fuck happened to this run? Let's try finishing talking about this. Now it becomes a true challenge run. I'm gonna keep moving so we don't get fucked. Let's back up to a corner so I can just talk a bit relaxed and shit. After Wuthering Heights, let me just kill one. Barking Up the Wrong Tree by Eric Barker is a self-help book. It's really more about, or like the name suggests, are you going for the right thing, or maybe you're misguided, something like that. And it was fun to read. Did I take anything really majorly insightful out of it? Not really. But it's a good read when you're bored. It's on the A tier, so it's that fun or that light and breezy of a read. Oh god, it's a Panzer. I barely have anything on me. I have almost nothing on me, dude. Kill Panzer Soldat. Yes! And give me that. Alright, up next, we have The Library Policeman by Stephen King. This is another one of Stephen King's stories. All the Stephen King sort of short stories that I'm talking about came from the same collection, which is 4 Past Midnight. And this one is really spoilerific. I won't go too much into it, but the idea is... How much can I say without spoiling it? Let me just get this. This guy sort of rents a book from this library, and the librarian is kind of a unique character. Like, he takes a lot of notice. The librarian just... There's something wrong about the librarian, and the next day he comes back to the library, and everyone says that that librarian died like 20 years ago. And slowly you begin to get the full picture of what the fuck is up with that library. And I really don't want to give away more than that. It's so good. It's one of the best Stephen King. Is that... Oh, that's Electric Cherry. Let's try it again. I'm just gonna shoot this at the ground. Widow's Wine? Fucking Deadshot Daiquiri. We can aim, right? We don't need Deadshot Daiquiri. We can aim. I literally have no lives left, so... We need to get Widow's Wine. Okay. Up next is Atomic Habits by James Clear. Another self-help book, but this one's actually the best one, I think, this year that I read. If you want to get your shit together and start doing something regularly, just read Atomic Habits. It's a very easy read. There's some actionable things for you to do in that book. So don't stress it. Just read the book and your life will improve. Is it going to be for everyone? Again, nothing's for everyone. But this book is... There's very concrete steps for you to start doing. For you to improve, like, how you do habits. You can even start a bad habit if you want, just by following the steps in this book. They're very clear, unambiguous steps. Deadshot Daiquiri, motherfucker! Alright, next up, Dune Messiah by Frank Herbert. I'm gonna talk about Dune a little bit more later on, but Dune Messiah is a great follow-up to Dune. I actually was gonna put this in S tier, but the ending kinda flopped. I wouldn't say flopped, I'd just say I had the wrong expectations. So is that a me problem? Not exactly, but without giving away too much, the book resolves, but not in a way a normal book resolves. It resolves more like the end of... I'm gonna use like Brandon Sanderson or Les Miserables as an example. So sometimes books have like 5 parts to them, or 3 parts, basically multiple sub-chapters or sub-parts. This book's ending resolves more like part 1 of one of those kinds of books. So, in short, I don't feel like the resolution was good enough for an entire book. Would I have put this at the front of Children of Dune? Maybe, but I think it would have been weird either way. I did like basically everything except for the last chapter. I loved everything except for the last chapter. Widow's Wine, please. Motherfucker, if I get Deadshot Daiquiri one more time, I'm gonna bust a fucking... Anyway, Dune Messiah is a great follow-up. If it nailed that landing, I might have even liked it more than Dune. Honestly speaking. If it nailed that landing, I might have enjoyed it more than Dune. But as it stands, I have a very nice amount of ammo. As it stands, I do prefer Dune. So we are going to try one more time. And if this is Deadshot Daiquiri, I'm going to... Widow's Wine, please! Widow's Wine. What? Oh, motherfucker. We wait for the new Wonderfizz. Wonderfizz. You have to pronounce it with German accent. Wonderfizz. Alright, next up is Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. This is the 4th Stormlight Archives book, and it's not the best, but it's the best in terms of expanding the universe, the world, the magic system. It is almost like... The biggest draw of this book is arguably it's also its biggest liability, which is that it feels like a treatise. It has the same problem as Bram Stoker's Dracula almost, where it feels like it's talking about science in a world that doesn't exist. It goes into very, very verbose detail on things that do not exist. So your enjoyment of this book really depends on how much you're willing to deal with that. Widow's Wine, please. Motherfucking Deadshot Daiquiri again! It's almost funny. It's almost like the game wants me to take Deadshot Daiquiri. I can get a headshot game, but I don't need to because I have Creamam Amam. Anyway, moving on. Next book. My favorite Stephen King novella I read this year is hands down The Langoliers. And I'm actually going to spoil, not really spoil, just give you the sales pitch for this book. So, The Langoliers starts in an airplane, and some passengers fall asleep, okay? They fall asleep on the flight. When they wake up, the pilot's missing, most of the people on the plane are missing, it's just the co-pilot and a few, like, stragglers. And they're the only people on the plane that are awake, and essentially... They don't know what happened to the other passengers on the plane, and they're trying to figure that out while trying to land in a safe place. So it's a mystery up front, but it's also a horror novel. And I think I may have just found my favorite subgenre of horror. Because a horror mystery, I always love those. Like Scream, Saw, those are my favorite. Those are probably my 2 favorite horror franchises. Well, Saw, just the first movie, is a mystery. Everything else is not really that much of a mystery. So, yeah, this is a mystery, and I think it's one of Stephen King's best stories, period. Please give me Widow's Wine and not Deadshot fucking... I swear, I've gotten Deadshot 4 times. I'm about to go insane. I'm about to go insane. I hate Deadshot. Oh my god. I don't need a headshot. I have this... Creamam Lamam. I have keyboard smack. I have keyboard smack. Okay, we're moving to S tier. And do I start S tier when I don't get Deadshot? Like I get something other than Deadshot. Am I feeling that cute today? You broke my shield, you motherfuckers. Luckily, we're right here. I'm running out of ammo for this thing. I probably need to get Alchem. But first, I need something called Widow's Wine. That is Mule Kick. I don't need Mule Kick. I need Widow's Wine. Thank you very much. Please give me Widow's Wine. Come on, it's not that hard. Fucking Mule Kick, I swear, what the fuck? You know what? I think it's worth it to get Alchem. To spin for Alchem. Alchem? Okay, we're gonna get a max ammo, never mind.
I know what is coming. In our souls, all of us do. In Russia, electricity is luxury. We must introduce it to steal zombie forces. I never thought of myself as archer, but arrows
Max ammo, please. There we go. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go to S tier now. We're almost done, guys. I'm still alive. Widow's wine, please. Please. What is that? What is that? Double tap? Okay, fine. Fine. We're gonna get double tap. Just so I can have some peace of mind.
Regulated by state.
Alright, S tier. S tier. Let's talk about S tier. There's 1, 2. Can I count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 books left. Let's go. We're not gonna go faster. We're just gonna try to survive. We can get Alchem if we need to last longer. Lean Startup by Eric Ries. This is what I was talking about earlier, comparing it to 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. If you've never even been on the leadership board of a startup or whatever they're called, and you may be thinking of starting one, or you're just curious how they work, this book is way more accessible. So again, demographic deal. If you're curious about startups, this book is easily understandable. It's way more understandable than the others. So yeah. Okay, we're going to try to spin for Alchem, but we're gonna move on to the next book, The Dead Zone by Stephen King. I'm gonna talk about this in broad strokes. Alchem? Nope, that's not Alchem. We try again though. So the first part of this book kind of broke me. It really made me feel bad for the main character. And then the second part hit, and it kind of went downhill a little bit, which is a big statement, but it makes sense if you read the book. I don't want to spoil too much, but okay. Hello. All right, we're gonna buy another one. Is this Alchem? There we go. We got Alchem. We're good. I'm gonna activate it now. Okay. Infinite ammo, alchemical antithesis. The second part of this book, it's not bad, but it's not as good as the first part. You'll know the second part when it changes a focus and plot. It feels almost like a different book. But then I didn't think he was gonna do it. I doubted Psyking again, but he did. He did it. At the end, he tied them together, and oh fuck! That moment in the book when you realize how the two acts of the book fit together in the third act. It's just chef's kiss. Oh my god! I really love this book. It's really good. It's a really good book. Is it Stephen King's best? No. It's on top tier Stephen King though. The ending made me cry like a bitch. Is it as good as 1122? Hell no. But I think this was the precursor to 1122. If Stephen King nailed the great American novel with 1122-63, this is the book where he started trying to nail it. I think this book... Oh god. Oh god. That's kind of tight. Okay. With insta-kill, this essentially becomes a death machine. Think about it. Next book is The Design of Everyday Things by Don Norman. I actually read this book twice. Once for leisure, once because I was handling... I teach at university, and I was handling a user experience and HCI course. So I wanted to... Oh my god! Give me a moment. I wanted to read the book. So that, I don't know, it could help, perhaps. So, both times I read this book, it just kind of blew me away. I really love this book. I'm going to try for Gobbledygook. I'd say I really can't speak for other people's experiences. But for me, it was a very accessible book, and it seemed very accessible, even to people who may not be in the field of HCI or user experience design. So, I mean, Again, take my words with a grain of salt if you're not in my field. But if you're interested at all in HCI, this may be a book for you. HCI or user experience design, or just designing in general. Next, Dune by Frank Herbert. I have a very weird relationship with this book. The first time I read it, I didn't think much about it. Like I thought it was okay. I got why it's as respected or revered as it is in the sci-fi circles, but I personally did not have that experience, and I thought it wasn't my style. And then I saw the movie, and I saw the movie twice. It was a hypnotic film. I talked about it in my movies video. And then I saw, motherfucker, Loveface, you're on my fucking channel again. I'm gonna fucking destroy you. Give me a moment. Let me just ban this fucking user from my fucking live streams for sending this shit. What was I talking about? Dune. The first time I read it, I wasn't that in love with it, but I saw the movie twice, and I talked about it in my movies video. But let's just fucking ban Loveface hide user on this channel. Report. Alright. Fuck you, Loveface. You and your goddamn online strips. Where were we? Let's put back my setup. And there we go. Okay.
I appear to be popular with the helping.
Alright. The second time I read this book, I really fell in love with it, though. Like, I don't know what changed in me, but I fucking loved it the second time around. This book, once you know, you have to know what you're going in for, or getting into. This book is not, I advise you don't take this book. First of all, if you're not enjoying the book, or you feel like it's getting a bit slow, don't read it all in one sitting. That's almost a surefire way for you to just hate the book. Try taking it in little pieces and read it like that. But also, the book, I don't think it's a story first and foremost. It's a good story, don't get me wrong. I really like the story of Dune, but I do acknowledge that it may not be for everyone. Dune, to me, is more of a vehicle for ideas and sort of philosophical discussions. And you could sort of, Brian or Herbert kind of said it, I think, where if you read Dune fixating on a specific sort of idea, like, for example, how we tend to idolize leaders, you can kind of read a book from one lens and then reread it with another lens. It's that much, there's that much meat to the writing of Dune. Frank Herbert's writing is not, it's as dry as Tolkien's, but I don't know, I read those books around the same time. But on my second read of Dune, I resonated with Frank Herbert's writing style a little bit more. I'm not too, I think his ideas just kind of distracted me from how dry his writing was. That's how good the delivery of the ideas in Dune are. Moving on, The Stand by Stephen King. This was a reread. Second time I've read this book, and I didn't love this book the first time around, but because I wasn't expecting the supernatural twist. I really liked the first part of this book, Captain Trips, when the virus was wreaking havoc on humanity. But once we got to the second part, where things kind of slowed down and it was more of a character study, I just preferred the faster pace of the first part. So if you're going to read this, I want you to know that without giving up too much details, the first part is really fast-paced with the outbreak and people dying left and right. But the second part is really slow-paced with all the character sort of focus. So if you go in knowing that, I think you'll be okay. I need a max ammo. Fetch me their souls. Oh god.
Now, Nikolai face real challenge.
I need Alchem. We're almost done with the list. Come on, let me finish my list. Next up is this. Yeah, we're done with the stand. Yeah, just know that if you're gonna go read this book, this book is almost like 3 books in one. To be honest. Oh my god. Oh my god. You know, let's just run this train over the map. Go back to the roof. Jesus Christ. The first book is really about the outbreak. The second book is about the survivors coalescing into 2 camps. And the third book is The Stand. It's the final showdown between the 2 camps. If you know that, the second part is much slower. It does pick up in the third part, but the second part is the longest. It's because that's where the characters develop into people they'll be for the final showdown. So as long as you know that aspect of it, I think you'll be fine. You can enjoy it thoroughly. Okay. There's just 2 books left. Then I can die. We have Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. So Rebecca is, again, another spoilerific book. I'll try not to give away too many details. But the premise of Rebecca is... Oh, no! I'm 2 books away! Okay, I'm just going to finish it. I'm not going to do another game. But the concept of Rebecca is there's this woman who marries this man, and she finds out that her husband's into weird shit. I mean, there's some weird things in his past, and these secrets are unveiled slowly. I won't give too much away. I won't even tell you who or what Rebecca is. It's like Rosebud in Citizen Kane, you know, it's gonna give away the entire thing. So just read Rebecca. It's my second favorite book of the year, and it's my favorite novel of the year, because the number 1 is a non-fiction novel, non-fiction book rather, and it's Algorithms to Live By, written by Brian Christian and Tom Griffiths. This one is really off demographic, but if I were to sell the book to you, it's really just computer scientists trying to apply the algorithms we learn in like algorithms class to real life tasks, like sorting tasks or prioritizing tasks to optimize our workflow. So it's written in such a way that even if you're not a computer science major, you can kind of understand it. But yeah, that's basically the main point of the book. It's just how can you optimize your life, which I was in that phase early in the year of I just kind of want to fix my shit up because, yeah, personal tragedy. It's not that statement's kind of overselling it, but you know what I mean. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's do a top 10 real quick. Number 10, Dune Messiah. Number 9, Rhythm of War. Number 8, The Langoliers. Number 7, The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. Number 6, The Dead Zone by Stephen King. Number... Is this 5? Yeah, number 5 is The Sign of Everyday Things by Don Norman. Number 4 is Dune by Frank Herbert. Number 3 is The Stand by Stephen King. Number 2 is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. And number 1 is Algorithms to Live By Brian Christian and Tom Griffiths. So I'm going to spin this last Divinium, and that's it for the stream. Okay, not bad. So, yeah, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this weird video. This video where I don't know who the demographic is for, but what the demographic is. But hopefully, it was fun for you to watch. I got to round 29. That's the farthest I've gotten without Gobblegum, I guess. I'm pretty bad at zombies. Anyway, thanks.